then where they're even chronological or contextual is nearly impossible for me. I spent the better part of a few minutes of the last two shows just talking about Louisville preparing and what it likely means in their posturing. And then we learned during the show yesterday that at 1:30 Eastern time, we would get an announcement from Attorney General Daniel Cameron, but come to find out it was at 1:15 that the grand jury indictments or lack of indictments were announced. So they went live with that at 1:15 yesterday. And so it was sped up. It was a little earlier than I had expected, but then to hear those indictments read, or there were three indictments and they were not for what many people were wanting them to be for. And then to also then have to wait about, 10, 12 minutes to get Attorney General Cameron to come along there in Frankfort and sort of dissect what was said and wasn't said, and then the realization of the people who were gathered in Jefferson Park in Louisville at the epicenter of where this was going on, and then to slowly see the mood of people change and their outcry and their frustration with the results of the investigation that then led to clashes yesterday with law enforcement and protesters in Louisville, then to gunfire last night where two LMPD officers were shot, wounded, and treated, to then the eventual curfew on the city of Louisville last night, that eventually things kind of calmed down because of the curfew, but it was well past the curfew hour that order was sort of restored. I'm not a Louisvillian. I'm not an African American. But I am a Kentuckian. I'm an American, I'm a Kentuckian, and I'm someone who likes to think that he can be practical, objective. I like to try and put myself in the shoes of others. I like to at least pride myself on the ability to having the ability to put myself in someone else's perspective, and to also understand that, I don't know everything about the situation, and I don't know what it's like to live in the community that a lot of the people who are protesting and a lot of the concerns that I don't know what it's like to walk in those shoes. I'm curious to know, and I'm open-minded to know how our country gets better, how we have more unity.
Yeah.
But I also at the same time, try and focus on the word justice. What is justice? I think in 2020 and in America, we like to think that, well, justice is my kind of justice. Whatever justice I like is the justice that should rule. And then someone who probably feels differently about other things says, well, no, my kind of justice is the kind of justice that we need. And then yet another person would say, well, no, but I like justice this way. Mm-hmm. And so I really try and, being somewhat of a purist about things or a traditionalist about getting back to the core of things, I struggle and say, what is justice? When is justice served and when is justice not served? And is the law, if the law is served, is that always justice? I don't know. For me, justice has biblical connotations. You find justice in the scripture, in the Bible, but you also see vengeance and you see revenge and so it's just a very complicated issue for me to have to be in this position today and say, well, you know what happened? Here's what happened, or here's why it went that way. But what we do know is that one officer indicted on 3 charges of wanton endangerment that happened at the scene of where Breonna Taylor died, but didn't have anything to do with Breonna Taylor specifically. Mm-hmm. And so, that alone is troubling to a lot of people who have been marching and protesting for the better part of 90 days or, for the better part of March 13th. That tragedy occurred on March 13th, but it really was in the wake of George Floyd that it caught that it received the fuel to the fire that led to the marching. There wasn't it wasn't that no one knew anything about it, but we went for a while without there being a lot of Breonna Taylor situation talk. But then nationally, all these things came to the main stage, and we started having a conversation. And so what I would beg people, celebrities and other people from around the country to know is, the law of Kentucky is what was used here. The investigation in Kentucky and the laws of Kentucky and the permissions given to law enforcement officers, that was the prism that was used for making the decision yesterday that the grand jury came to the conclusion that was the extent of the indictments. Again, I go back. In the grand scheme of things, is that just? I don't know. It's not for me to say, but I don't think that just because you don't like what happened in the situation, I don't think you can claim that isn't justice. But it did meet the standard of the law, and the law was as the other two officers had the ability, were permitted to defend themselves when bullets started flying. I do want to say, again, we could talk for hours, and I think a lot of people are talking for hours around water coolers, and they're talking online, and they're talking, across the coffee table from one another. So these conversations are happening everywhere, and we're not going to solve anything today. It's not my effort to solve anything, but yet just to kind of get things out there on a dialogue and view them from the proper perspective. I thought it was a complete and total change when the Attorney General made the claim yesterday, and I have no reason to dispute it. He's out there and he says that the warrant was not served as a no-knock warrant. They had a no-knock warrant, but now he says, according to their investigation, that a neighbor corroborated that they knocked and that they announced themselves before they smashed the door in. And if that is true, then it changes a whole lot of the chatter that's been going on over the last 90 days about the validity or lack of validity of no-knock warrants. I'm certainly not going to make a claim and say they serve their purpose. But now we're finding out that maybe it wasn't just the situation of it being a no-knock warrant that was the crux of where this case was falling. Does that make sense? If it was a no-knock warrant, but they didn't use it in a no-knock capacity. So there's just a lot more variables. We know the variables as presented to us by the Attorney General yesterday. We've not seen the entire file. We're not going to see the entire file so long as there's an FBI investigation going on or there could be federal charges. We're not going to see that, even though there are calls for it. I do want to commend law enforcement. I enjoyed the perspective of seeing what it looked like behind law enforcement lines yesterday, instead of having to take the media on the outside looking in. If you were following along socially, you got the ability to see what it was look like standing behind the shields, standing behind the lines of law enforcement, and what it looked like and what they were faced with. I don't know that Daniel Cameron told 100% truth yesterday. I don't know that he didn't. That's not my claim. But he was poised yesterday. He was articulate. He handled questions well, and I am extremely proud of the way that the Attorney General presented all of the information yesterday and in the forum that he presented it. Again, I don't know if I have all the facts, and I don't know if I know all of the details that I might want to know. But I do know on the surface that I think he's to be commended for the way he handled an awfully difficult situation.
Yeah, I think so as well. There's just a couple of points I want to make, and really they're just seeds to plant for you, because we are part of white America who's grown up in a culture of predominantly white community where we've not had a lot of African American or black or brown friends or different ethnic people to grow up with and understand the cultural differences or what they deal with. So I think the one thing that we have to do is we can show empathy because we've never lived we've never walked in their shoes. But the one thing we have to do is we have to educate ourselves, because I think the worst ignorance is chosen ignorance. It's choosing to hear what other people are saying, and it may sound right, but you haven't educated yourself on the other side of the coin. So I want to leave you with some things that I've been studying the last couple of weeks that are wonderful. And it's a pastor out of New York. His name is Dr. A.R. Bernard. YouTube him, and Justice. And Black Lives Matter versus the ideology and the organization. That's two different things. So there's a lot of talk about that. I also want you to research and understand the difference between racism and classism. That's going to help you tremendously. But I'm like you, it goes back to biblical justice, and he does a great sermon on God's justice, and he's going to start you there and walk you through this entire process of not Breonna Taylor, but the protests that are going on right now. And the one thing that helped me the most was when he talks about the passage of the wheat and the tares. And the angel says, do you want me to pluck up the tares that the enemy has sown? And he said, no. And he goes on to explain that if in God's justice, if he removes the bad, we have to understand the implications to all of the people that are good, that taking that one bad thing would happen. So when I look at something, I'm like, why don't you just smite them, Lord? Don't you still smite people? And it's like, but all the people that are attached to them, he has to deal with that before he can deal with the justice. So sometimes justice comes later.
Sure.
But anyway, I can't do it justice. Dr. A.R. Bernard, find that and just educate yourself as a white person what it is to live in America as a black or brown person. Before you make any other decisions, I need you to look and try to have empathy and try to put yourself in their situation. I'm like you. I don't know where I stand on everything that happened yesterday, but I do know that we have, as a society, had laws on the books that have hurt our black and brown friends. Jim Crow laws, segregation laws so not all law is right, and we need to look at our laws constantly and say, are we using laws to discriminate against people? And if we are, those have to be changed.
Right.
But I will say on a no-knock warrant, when I try to think about if somebody just walked into my house with the wrong address with a no-knock warrant, I'm a concealed carry. And my concealed carry says if you've barged into my house and I have the right to defend myself, regardless of, and people show up. We've had it happen here to Mr. Moon. Remember when the people pretended to be the FBI and they held him kidnapped?
Yeah.
So just because you come in with a uniform doesn't mean that I'm supposed to assume that you aren't, an imposter. So many things to review and look at.
I had on my notes, it's just, I love law enforcement. I do, and I'm supportive of law enforcement. But I also I owe it to myself to flip around and go, well, what happens when there's injustice among law enforcement, and what do you do? But then also, what do you do with the injustice from the citizenry? Because in my notes, it said policing is messy. It is messy. Mm-hmm. Policing is completely different if everyone respected first self, and then they respected fellow man, and they respected fellow man's property, and they respected family, and the policing would be completely different. But also policing would be completely different if law enforcement always made the best decisions that we would have them to. So again, there's just no perfection.
There's
in
not.
our society.
And I go back, we're in this place of Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. If we want to look at all lives matter, if we truly live that all lives matter, the life in the womb, the blue lives, the black lives, the white, we would not be in this predicament. If every person truly lived like all lives matter, we would not be in this predicament right now.
Governor Beshear said yesterday, by the way, the president tweeted support for the officers who were shot last night, and then it sounds like they're going to be okay. At least that's the latest information that I got. The president also mentioned that he had communicated with Governor Beshear and pledged support in any way that the federal government could. The governor also yesterday announced 796 new coronavirus cases, 5 new deaths in Kentucky. The positivity rate rose for the third straight day. We had gotten under 4% over the weekend. Now we're back to about 4.6. 123 people currently in ICU in Kentucky. The UK is studying they're doing a study to see if 14 days is the proper amount of time for quarantine if you're exposed or if you've tested positive. They think that it possibly could be shorter. And so you may get some people on UK's campus who will be participating in that study. Justice Ginsburg continued to be paid tribute to yesterday. A lot of prominent visitors at the Supreme Court building there in our nation's capital. It was the first time in 6 months that many of them had gathered, the justices, the family, et cetera, because they've been operating remotely as well. But they had the court's 8 justices. Chief Justice Roberts called her tough, brave, a fighter, a winner, but also thoughtful, careful, compassionate, and honest. Vice President Pence and his wife Karen were there yesterday. The Clintons were there yesterday. President Trump is there, maybe there now, is scheduled to be there this morning. And she will continue to lie there on the steps and then move over into the Capitol, where she will lie in state as the first woman to do so, and only the second Supreme Court justice after William Howard Taft. Taft was also president and Supreme Court justice, and so he lied there. But Rosa Parks lied in repose in the Capitol. So she was the only previous woman to lie there, but there's a difference between lying in repose and lying in state. Justice Ginsburg will be the first woman to lie in state.
Do you know the difference?
Because I don't. In the U.S. Capitol. Yes, I do, but not prepared to talk to it.
Okay.
But we can figure it out. And then one other, we need some bright spots today. We learned yesterday that Hawaii has been named the happiest state. Well, duh.
Well, duh.
I mean, I thought that was they edged out Utah just barely, though.
It was the beach.
Hawaii's total score was 69.6 out of 100. And also Minnesota, New Jersey, and Maryland rounded out the top 5. No, Hawaii.
I don't trust your study.
Hawaii is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, all the islands. How many islands are there?
You got to get to a break. We'll come back. More on the way here on In the Know.
Today, successful small businesses are lean, portable, and focused. If you're running your own business, you need to stay in tune to your customers, vendors, and employees. That's processing payroll and reporting, much less the overall performance of your business. The firm of Buckles, Travis & Hart has a full offering of services for small businesses. Payroll processing, tax liability, unemployment, and financial reporting, just to name a few. Think of them like a built-in business manager, but they don't get sick and they don't ask for time off. Call or contact today to help get your business focused across the board. Buckles, Travis & Hart, 270-259-5604, GraysonCPAs.com.
Expert care, high technology, hometown kindness. That's Twin Lakes Regional Medical Center. Here's Dr. Gregory Koo on integrative healthcare.
Integrative is basically you mix holistic medicine with modern medicine. I was the director of this holistic integrative center, but I did acupuncture, and I did that my entire career alongside of family medicine, and the results are just unbelievable.
To schedule an appointment with Dr. Koo, call 270-879-3711. Twin Lakes Regional Medical Center. Your home, your health.
Look around your home, and there's probably something that was made right here in Litchfield. Leggett & Platt is a worldwide corporation making a wide range of products, including sofa sleeper and reclining hardware assemblies here at home. A portion of your Ashley, Lazy Boy, or England furniture might have been made by one of your neighbors. Join the Leggett & Platt team today. We're a one-shift operation with competitive wages, incentive pay, benefits at 90 days, and a discount stock program offering after 6 months. Applications for production trainees are available in the front lobby with a convenient drop box. So stop by the office at 435 at Embry Drive and start your path to a career with Leggett & Platt. We need 30 new trainees immediately. So join the team where our motto is, we work hard so you can rest easy. An equal opportunity, affirmative action, veteran and disability employer.
Hi, I'm Samara Heverin, running for re-election as your state representative. Last year, you put your trust in me, and I fought hard for our families in Grayson and Hardin counties, receiving GLI's Most Valuable Policymaker Award. I'm a conservative Republican, I'm endorsed by Kentucky Right to Life and the NRA, I'm pro-religious liberty, and I support our local police. Again, I'm Samara Heverin, and I hope I can count on your vote on or before November 3rd.
Paid for by Samara Heverin for State Representative. When caring for a family member, their state of health is continually on your mind, and when they're faced with a health concern, you'll do just about anything to make them feel better. Rest assured, their feel better starts right here at Midway Pharmacy. We take our time to get to know all about your family's health history so we can provide you with educated advice. So when someone's counting on you to help them maintain a healthy lifestyle or to overcome that untimely sickness, remember, at Midway Pharmacy.
The Google Assistant is trying to shake up your less than exciting pandemic routine. A new regimen will prompt you to get up and move, go for a walk, grab a glass of water, and other normal human being activities at various points throughout the day. It comes pre-configured with suggested actions at specific times, though you can customize those yourself. Spotify's testing out a way to make its podcast more interactive. The new polls feature allows podcasters to ask questions directly in the app. When listeners respond, they'll see how those answers stack up against others. Podcasters have full control over the questions. As an example, they might create a poll to see who the next guest should be. All answers remain anonymous. BTS is now officially an interactive game. The Korean boy band out with BTS Universe Story, which you can download in the Google and Apple app stores. The interactive story app features 3D scan avatars of each of the guys of the K-pop group. Players can create and share interactive choose-your-own adventure-style stories, selecting choices throughout that lead to different outcomes. Tech Report, Larry Olson, and...
Well, things have been a little complicated. While the tea life has got me down. Well, sex is cheap and talk is overrated.
Today is Punctuation Day.
Oh,
big fan.
Please.
Very important.
There's some YouTube videos out there, some of you all should go through.
Go
2
ahead.
spaces
Goodness
after the
gracious.
periods, please.
Yeah.
As we know. Do you want to eat Grandpa or do you want to eat Grandpa?
It really does matter.
Slight punctuation makes a
Commas
big
matter.
difference. That's right.
Commas save lives.
Big fan of commas.
It is also Cherry's Jubilee Day today. So I'm
Not
not
on that.
particularly a big fan, but just in case you are, there you go. We have for the last few months, we've been featuring on Thursdays the funny tweets of the week,
Love these.
which we seem to enjoy. Parenting changing a lot since mid-March. And so the manifestation of those changes sometimes comes out on Twitter in 144 character form. At Mama Jessie C says, my tween is mad at me, and it could be because of any number of horrible things I did this morning. Stood in the kitchen, poured coffee, stared out the window, said good morning, breathed.
Yeah. Those are all offenses.
Yes, so true.
How dare you?
Chargeable offenses.
How dare you?
Don't look at me.
At Rod LaCroix says, if any of you have 3 hours to kill, our youngest has a great story about how she picked her favorite color.
She's going to be a broadcaster.
Listen, I love kids, but good gravy.
Those talkers will get you.
They can,
Yeah.
they can carry on for a long time. By the way, I would like to apologize. I really don't want to hijack the funny tweets segment. But speaking of stories and talkers, I would like to apologize in advance to anyone in this building and also her other parents. But if you suddenly find yourself being asked by young Alea, ¿Qué pasa? I'm solely to blame.
I wouldn't doubt that.
Because yesterday
Listen,
we decided...
they couldn't blame anybody else. You're the only culprit.
Yesterday we decided we wanted to be prepared if we ever met Dora.
Oh, okay, very good.
And so we wanted to have a few walking around phrases in Spanish. So, if you need to know how someone's doing, if you want to know what's happening, ¿Qué pasa?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
She tried it on for size and she liked it a lot, by the way. So just don't be
Fit
surprised.
right in her backpack.
Yep, that's right. At Divergent Mama said she was rare, like an item of kids' clothing in the hamper that's not inside out. There is something about kids' clothes that
Listen, the dryer will turn them inside out so.
it will turn mine inside out. I know.
It's
There's only like
obnoxious.
2 shirts of yours, but yeah.
But kids' clothes,
they just
when you skin a rabbit,
Yeah.
which is how it happens at our house, the clothes are inside out because if you've ever skinned a rabbit, the skin is inside out. At Copy Mama says, my 10-year-old rejected a pair of socks because she could feel the polka dots.
I've rejected socks because I can feel the polka dots. That's a real thing.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, the material's thicker there, or that coated on sticky stuff they put.
Yes, but sometimes kids, though, get locked on to something out of the ordinary.
Well, sure, but that is a real thing.
That is a real thing.
And
I'm on the kid's side.
And
I'm
one
on the
day
kid's side.
they love something one day, and then the next day, no, I don't like that.
Well,
It's-
trends change. That's probably a for sure sign you got made fun of.
Say with one
at
sleep,
school.
trends change in one sleep.
Yeah, somebody made fun of you at school.
Oh, and I can relate. At Simon C. Holland says, that feeling of relief when your kid is dressed up for pajama day and you see another kid in pajamas at drop off.
Yes.
Okay, you as a parent, you've been sold and told that something is happening. And you think there's an outside chance I'm getting conned.
Absolutely,
bamboozled.
because I don't read the folder.
Right.
I don't.
Or
I just
if
sign
you-
it. I don't read that
If
thing.
you go to an ugly sweater Christmas party, or you go to a costume, someone tells you, oh, it's a costume party, and you go wearing your costume.
Yeah.
When you open that door and there are other people wearing costumes, you think, oh, thank you,
God.
Lord. Thank you,
Yeah,
Lord.
I just went all Legally Blonde on you, where she shows up as the bunny and nobody else is dressed up.
That's right. So I can see where parents are like that. Okay, good. It really is pajama day. I didn't just get told that.
Yes.
And then also, we like to funny tweets from parents, but also we like to pick out the occasional funny tweet from the wives. And one said, my husband wants to make cauliflower crust pizza. So now I have to run to the grocery store and find a new husband. Yeah. Cauliflower.
I'm looking for a
pizza.
chunky
that
one
like-
that probably doesn't like cauliflower.
It's probably like a wife thing to
Right.
do.
I'm not
A
looking
cauliflower crust.
Yeah.
And I like cauliflower.
Pumpkin spice
seriously.
macaroni and cheese is coming this fall thanks to Kraft Dinner.
That sounds terrible.
Macaroni and cheese is teeter-tottering on its own in my is it acceptable or is it not acceptable? On the range of acceptable sides for me, pumpkin spice is most always last. Now the order of the ones ahead of macaroni and cheese may change. It could be green beans, it could be broccoli, it could be fries, it could be baked potato, it could be but macaroni and cheese is almost always I can't have 2 potatoes. Or I've already picked one starch and one green.
Right.
I certainly don't want 2 greens. But macaroni and cheese is almost like the placeholder. Like, okay.
Really?
But
Yeah, for me, it's a go-to.
Yeah.
But if you go junking it up with pumpkin spice, it's going off the acceptable list into
No.
the ain't no way list.
I mean, for so many days, macaroni and cheese was the entree at our house when
Oh,
the
I
kids
know.
were little.
I know. I mean-
and then it was like, do you want a chicken nugget to scoop up the extra cheese you can't get with the pasta?
I understand kids orbit around macaroni and cheese.
And their
It's not
mamas.
just kids.
It's not just kids, it's the kids. It's because
the
the
mamas-
mamas blame it on the kids.
But they finish up the plate.
No, but I think that comes as a result of mamas know that if they're going to make macaroni and cheese for the kids, they might as well just have some so they don't have to make anything else.
You've never
Yeah,
been a
we're
mama,
tired.
clearly.
That's
You've never been a mother.
No, I'm not blaming the moms. I'm just
Oh,
thinking, well, it's
I'm
made. I
saying
might as well
there
eat it.
are so many things our kids do and eat because we want them and we want to blame it on them.
Oh, all right. Oh, revealing. I'm learning something
Let's
I didn't know.
just tell
that.
the
Behind.
truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just too tired.
Cheese pizza all the days. Chicken nuggets and macaroni.
But dads don't have to be that diabolical about it. If we want the kids to want something because we want it, we just say, we're having pizza.
Mark, we have a reputation to
Made
uphold,
a cheese pizza
right?
yesterday.
Yeah.
And not for the little one.
An update.
She wasn't even there.
Uncle Ben's reveals its new name, Ben's Original.
Why not Uncle?
apparently, I guess apparently, when we went through here cleaning up all these products that we felt like were insensitive, the word uncle was somehow racially insensitive. So
Listen,
we had to
Aunt
take the
Jemima
picture. We had to take the picture away, and we had to take uncle away. But otherwise, it's the same orange box, and it's the same font, and it's the same color of blue.
And it's
Ben's
the same
original.
goodness.
It's the same
We
exact
also
rice.
lost the Indian on Lanza Lake butter.
We did.
Mm-hmm. So, did anybody ask Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben if they wanted to lose the aunt and uncle? Aren't they married?
Well, they dated for a while.
Did they make a decision
They
together?
They dated for a
that
while.
they no longer is this them trying to go back in time to be younger?
2020 has been a barrage of unsettling news, including losing Uncle Ben and Aunt Jemima. But now I'm learning. I understood when it happened, but now it sounds as that it may be permanent. McDonald's sounds like they will not bring all-day breakfast back. Can you? I love McDonald's, by the way. Matter of fact, I had breakfast at McDonald's today. Right on cue.
I've not had mine yet.
No,
Thank you.
right on cue. Misty grabs
sorry.
her koozie.
Oh, okay.
And
Gotcha.
would you like to do it again for those that missed it? I got the golden arches in the shot there. Okay, very good.
This is my favorite thing I ever got in my whole life, other than my children and my husband.
Can we? I understand.
It stays with me every week.
I understand the full breakfast menu may be a little clunky and hard to do. I'm fine with that. Like those McGriddles, fine. After 10:30, before 10:30 only, fine, no problem. Burritos before 10:30, fine, no problem. But can you leave the Egg McMuffin? Like the Egg McMuffin is the McDonald's signature breakfast sandwich, and I don't even eat it every time I eat breakfast at McDonald's. But it is so quintessential McDonald's that sometimes at 2:30 in the afternoon, you want one.
When your McDonald's tank is filling low.
Yes, and I'm saying you don't have to do the McChicken. You don't like the
Yeah.
chicken biscuit. You don't have to do the hotcakes and sausage. You don't. But can you just put the Egg McMuffin on
McDonald's,
there all the time?
Mark's 10-gallon hat's filling 5 gallons flat.
Right. I just need. Sometimes you just go, whoa.
Hankering for
That would be good.
McDonald's Egg McMuffin.
That's all I ask. Can you just leave that one item? And again, it's not my go-to item.
What's your go-to?
But it's it would be like saying, I guess the other thing is they would need to serve Big Macs before 10:30.
Amen.
I was getting ready to say, now what are you going to give
Now
us in
that-
the breakfast time for us who don't necessarily like breakfast food? Like this week, my breakfast has been nachos.
Well,
at 6
you get up so
in the morning.
early, so breakfast for normal people is different from
By breakfast time,
for
it's
you.
lunch for Misty.
Yeah.
I got it.
I eat breakfast at like 6:30, but I'm eating nachos. Like I don't like breakfast food.
Please just
in the
take it
mornings.
under advisement, McDonald's. Just give us the one item. We just need one breakfast item all day, and then we can have one non-breakfast item during breakfast hours, and then I got it.
I love breakfast for dinner. Here's what they should do. They should give French fries in the morning for us that don't like that hash brown patty.
We could
French
could work.
fries with the breakfast sandwich may bring me back to the breakfast.
That's
in
one of the
morning.
reasons,
That's
though, that I
what
love the
breakfast
Egg McMuffin idea at 2:30 in the afternoon because you can get French fries with the
That's
Egg
what
McMuffin.
it is.
Yeah, I don't like
solved
French
the
fries.
mystery.
Reese's will sell a salty peanut butter cup with pretzels.
Life just got better
Give
in
it a try.
2020.
And
This is just a take 5.
while
I hate
McDonald's
pretzels.
may be giving me some concerning news, Kit Kate is totally redeeming themselves.
Yeah.
Misty, we're going to be in this. We may all going to be in it. That you can now get in a special Kit Kat flavor club. So you get a box of new flavors before they're available in stores if you're in the club.
It's like the wine of the month for people who don't drink wine.
I'm canceling my Hair Club for Men subscription, and I'm joining the Kit Kat Flavor Club.
This is so. I will get rid of BoxyCharm.
I don't belong to any clubs.
We're
I
sorry.
am getting in the Kit Kate Club.
What do I
And
want for Christmas?
you just look out.
Yeah.
We got to get to a break. We'll come back. Got more on the way. You're on In the Know.
It turns out there is, in fact, one surefire way to avoid finishing your hot and salty fries on the way back from the McDonald's drive-thru. And that way would be getting an extra order for mealtime only. Imagine it. Every McDonald's fry accounted for as you're starting your meal.
Now at McDonald's, bundle a McDouble and small fries, or a 6-piece Chicken McNuggets and small fries for just $3. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with combo meal.
Amy McGrath and the radical left mobs opposed President Trump from the morning after his election.
Amy McGrath, an extreme liberal, compared my election, she compared it to 9/11.
Here's McGrath on President Trump's election.
That morning I woke up like somebody had sucker punched me. The only feeling I can describe that's any close to it was the feeling I had after 9/11.
That's right. McGrath compared President Trump's election to 9/11, the worst terrorist attack in American history. At a time when most Kentuckians were praying for a new president's success, this is what Amy McGrath and the radical left mobs were thinking. McGrath supported impeaching President Trump. She even said she's, quote, further left than anyone in the state of Kentucky. Extreme Amy McGrath, the wrong path for Kentucky.
I'm Mitch McConnell, candidate for the U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by McConnell Senate Committee.
Core-Mark Kentucky has immediate job openings for night warehouse shifts. If you're highly motivated, seeking a family-friendly environment, Core-Mark Kentucky has full, part, and temporary time positions available with competitive wages, incentives, benefits, vacation, and a fun work atmosphere. Core-Mark Kentucky offers you a 4-day work week. That's 3 days off a week. Call a recruiter now at 270-259-9341 or apply online at careers.coremark.com. Core-Mark is an equal opportunity employer.
At the University of Kentucky, there are no bounds to our campus, no limits to our ambitions. Now you can earn a degree from UK anywhere. Every day we're expanding our reach and impact for a world that moves faster and demands more. Over 30 degrees and certificates, 100% online, from Kentucky's flagship university. We're prepared to adapt, grow, build, challenge, and succeed. Together. Find your program at uky.edu/UKonline.
This Saturday, Coach Stoops and the Cats kick off their season against a top 10 SEC West foe. Look out! The Auburn Tigers and your Kentucky Wildcats.
Touchdown, Kentucky!
The Cats on K105 are brought to you by Future Designs Building Materials. Tune in to Countdown to Kickoff 9:30 Saturday on K105.
K105 weather is brought to you by Future Designs Building Materials on Quarry Road in Litchfield.
Twin Lakes weather. We'll see passing areas of showers or drizzle mainly south of I-64 as we do this afternoon. Otherwise, a mix of sun and clouds. A high temperature should get into the mid-70s in many spots. Then as we get into tonight, we'll see some patchy areas of fog, a low temperature around 60. Then tomorrow, mostly cloudy at times, a high temperature a little warmer, getting closer to 80. Wait for the Storm Tracking Team. I'm meteorologist Brian Good.
Did you know the movie Grease was released in Venezuela under the name Vaselina?
That is one of the best things I've heard in a long time.
Yeah. Other than what I heard from the break, yeah.
Vaselina is the word. Vaselina is the word, is the word. Doesn't flow.
No.
Doesn't flow.
You probably can make it work, though.
Go Vaselina lightning. It's got too many, go Grease lightning and go Vaselina lightning. Just does not.
It's funny, though.
It does not work. You can absolutely forget it. Mike Tyson is revealing that the 2020 election will be his first time voting. Mike Tyson has never voted in an election.
Well, does he need some guidance?
He's 54 years of age. He may need some help. He said, I'm proud to finally vote. Now, one of the reasons is in 1992, he was sentenced to 6 years in prison after being charged with 1 count of rape, 2 counts of deviant sexual conduct. He spent 3 years in prison during that time period. So
3
he
years
has
for raping.
Felony record and.
But still, there's a lot of years in there that
That's right.
You had the opportunity.
I just was thinking.
No,
yeah,
you can as a convicted felon.
Right.
Sexual offenders cannot vote.
Yeah,
That's why he has
you have to have
because of the new laws. He can now.
Some laws are changing, right? Yeah. And that's where Mike Bloomberg is spending a lot of his money in Frankfurt, Florida, trying to buy the election by paying court fees. So you might have served your sentence, but if you've not made financial restitution, your court costs, et cetera, then your voting rights aren't fully restored.
Well,
so that's why they're dumping money into it.
Some felons can have their records expunged, but I don't think that a sex offender can.
Right. I was just thinking about this yesterday, and lo and behold, the information falls before me this morning. David Letterman's Netflix show, My Next Guest, sets the season 3 premiere and order. The third season of My Next Guest needs no introduction, has a 4-episode roster, including Lizzo, Kim Kardashian, Dave Chappelle, and Robert Downey Jr. And all the episodes will premiere at once on October 21st.
Is that Santa Claus?
Letterman is looking very Santa Claus-like.
Letterman.
And you saw him at the Indy 500. It was funny to see he had a face mask on, but then his big white beard sticking out from underneath it.
Letterman?
That's Dave Letterman. Yeah, he decided to go Ernest Hemingway after his
that is very
his show.
Ernest Hemingway.
Yes.
And so, by the way, that's one of the. I've always been a big fan of Letterman. He and I, we don't really line up politically, but just back to his show at NBC and his humor and his top 10 lists and all that. I've always been a big Letterman fan, and I'll tell you is that his style of Q&A with guests is, I have. It's not that I'm particularly good at it, but as good as I am at Q&A, a lot of that comes from, he's part of the reason that I try and emulate that, how you have a conversation with someone that might be engaging when other people are watching. And so he is brilliant. As good as his show was on CBS, his ability to engage with his guest in this format is very good.
So how would you compare him to Jay Leno, which is the only late night person that I've ever really enjoyed?
Jay Leno is always doing shtick when he's doing his Q&A with his guest. It's always a setup to a zinger and Letterman is more revealing. Like Howard Stern is like deep diving, gets to the core of the issue and gets you to say things you probably don't want to tell the public.
Yeah.
But Letterman is just more of an inbounds, back and forth. I think his genuine nature comes out in his style. So anyway, October 21st, all 4 episodes of the season out at one time. I think those are, I don't know a lot about Lizzo. I've seen, some media coverage of her. She'll be interesting. But the Dave Chappelle one, the Dave Chappelle one, I will appreciate the Kim Kardashian one because I think I'll learn a lot about her that I'm not going to otherwise learn. But really looking forward to the Dave Chappelle one.
I love Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, too.
He's an interesting story and a person who, has a public persona at things, has created, an entity and an entertainment. I don't know if it's an empire, but then he's
definitely a brand.
He's a dad. He lives in Ohio. He's, still kind of down to earth. Parks and Rec among the titles that are leaving Netflix. So we were just talking about Letterman on Netflix. Parks and Rec, all 7 seasons will be leaving Netflix. Look for them to surface on Peacock. So if you're following, if you're going to have Peacock, you'll still have access. Highway to Heaven, seasons 1 through 5, leaving. The Patriot is leaving. The Silence of the Lambs leaving. Spaceballs is leaving. So get it while you can on Netflix on those titles.
Yeah, that should be included in your Uncle Mark. For the young children to watch Spaceballs.
And also the Never Ending Story and the Never Ending Story 2 are leaving Netflix that month as well. So, it's Spaceballs. May the Schwartz be with you. What a great movie. I mean, it puts The Princess Bride with Star Wars what an amazing movie. Got to get to a break. We'll come back. Going to finish it up for the morning here on In the Know.
If you really want to know someone, you have to know their heart. Walt Bettinger knows that to be true. He's the CEO of Charles Schwab Corporation and has hired hundreds of people in his career. Over the years, he's developed a unique style of interviewing that helps him get a sense of who his candidates really are. He takes them to breakfast at his favorite restaurant so he can conduct an experiment. Walt says job candidates relax more at breakfast than in the formal interview process. They're more willing to share about themselves, and they're more likely to act as they normally would. That's where Walt's experiment comes in. What the candidate doesn't know is that Walt shows up early and offers the waiter a handsome tip for one special request: mess up their order. Sometimes the food arrives cold. Other times there's too much of this and not enough of that. But every time, Walt pays close attention to how the candidate handles the problem. Do they get upset or frustrated, or do they act professionally and treat the waitstaff with respect? Their response to a small problem sheds light on how they'll handle larger, more stressful difficulties. It reveals how patient and understanding they are, and if they serve others or only think of themselves. The formal part of Walt's interview covers the candidate's knowledge and their ability to apply it, but his breakfast experiment, well, that uncovers just who they are. For more to help you thrive, visit FocusOnTheFamily.com. I'm Jim Daly.
Look around your home, and there's probably something that was made right here in Litchfield. Leggett & Platt is a worldwide corporation making a wide range of products, including sofa sleeper and reclining hardware assemblies here at home. A portion of your Ashley, Lazy Boy, or England furniture might have been made by one of your neighbors. Join the Leggett & Platt team today. We're a one-shift operation with competitive wages, incentive pay, benefits at 90 days, and a discount stock program offering after 6 months. Applications for production trainees are available in the front lobby with a convenient drop box. So stop by the office at 435 at Embry Drive and start your path to a career with Leggett & Platt. We need 30 new trainees immediately. So join the team where our motto is, we work hard so you can rest easy. Leggett & Platt is an equal opportunity, affirmative action, veteran and disability employer.
I'm Amy McGrath, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
Mitch McConnell is attacking Amy McGrath on, of all things, 9/11. After the second tower was hit, Amy McGrath was scrambled into an F-18 and spent hours at the end of a runway, waiting to hear if she'd be ordered to shoot down a hijacked airliner. It was the worst 4 hours of her life. Mitch McConnell got himself out of military service. He's the last person who should be attacking any veteran. But he's even trying to say that Amy McGrath supports looting and lawlessness. Listen to 4 veterans who served with Amy.
I know the real Amy McGrath. I served with her in combat. She does not support lawlessness.
If there was ever an example of fake news, it would be what Mitch McConnell said about Amy McGrath.
Amy is in the top tier of people when I think about dedication to this country and dedication to service.
I'm a Republican, and I can tell you that Mitch McConnell is not telling the truth about Amy McGrath.
Paid for by Amy McGrath for Senate.
MB's point to ponder for today. Would you rather wear shoes one size too small or one size too big?
Too big and stuff them.
Oh.
Too small will hurt your feet all day.
What if it happens during a pandemic and you don't have any toilet paper?
It really depends on what I'm doing with the shoes.
Yeah.
I would rather them be too small if it's like a cocktail event or something like that, because I don't like to slip out of the ones that are too big, because then I'll trip and fall.
I think a lot of women do a little bit of both on any given day, depending upon where they're going and what shoes they're wearing. And sometimes you just like the shoes, say, oh, sorry, we don't have it in your size. Well, okay, give me the size bigger or the size smaller. And
I mean, if it's got Velcro on it, give me the bigger and I can tighten those babies down.
Ratchet it down.
Yes.
Gotcha. On television tonight, Celebrity Family Feud is on ABC. Kathy Lee Gifford versus Ricky Lake in the first half hour.
Oh, dear.
And 2 Chainz versus Big Boy in the second half hour.
I don't know 2 Chainz or Big Boy.
Yeah. And leave that over there. Big Boy got paid to appear in Apple iPhone commercials all night.
No. All I hear right now is, I like it when you call me Big Papa. Right?
Boy. By the way, it's B-O-I. If you're Googling it, it's B-O-I. And 2 Chainz, he's the big brother to 1 Chain.
Yeah, I did put that together.
Today's highlight in history.
Yeah.
Of course, he does look up to 3 Chainz.
Like, how old are you supposed to be to know this?
I'm going.
Are we older?
20 and under.
Yeah, I think 30-year-olds know.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to ask Sam. If Sam knew, then I'm going to change mine.
1789, President Washington signed the Judiciary Act, establishing America's federal court system and creating the post of Attorney General. In 1890, the president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Wilford Woodruff, wrote a manifesto renouncing the practice of plural marriage.
I don't think everybody got the memo.
1964, the situation comedy The Munsters premiered on CBS television. Also, the adventure series Daniel Boone debuted on NBC. Daniel Boone was a man. Birthdays today. News anchor Lou Dobbs is 75 today. Mean Joe Green is 74 today. Played for the Steelers, infamously in that Coca-Cola commercial.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Mean Joe.
Great. Yeah.
You want my Coke? Thanks, kid. Well, thanks, Mean Joe. Throws him his jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Hamm, the Olympic gold medal gymnast, is 38 today. Miss Buckles, you're wearing your friend's shirt today, and your belated birthday present arrived earlier this week.
It did.
You got the new Friends cookbook. It was pre-ordered for you, and it has arrived. I guess what I want to know most, so obviously the recipe is in there for the moist maker.
It is.
The recipe is in there for how to properly make a Thanksgiving turkey, of course, including putting it on your head.
Yes.
The trifle, the infamous trifle dish is in there, but it's an entire book. So my question for you is this.
Yes.
Of all the recipes in that book, what is the one that I will be sampling first?
Oh, because you're going to make it?
No. No. You got the cookbook. I didn't get the cookbook.
You're the cooker. You need the cooker hat.
I procured the cookbook.
Right.
You received the cookbook.
Well, we're getting close to Thanksgiving, so probably the moist maker.
The moist maker?
Yeah, but there are a couple of ones in here that are interesting. So it even has like Monica's cupboard. Like, so if you watch the show, you see all those things that she has behind. So there's like a list of things that she has.
Oh, okay.
But I've also found crab cakes in here.
Crab cakes?
Mm-hmm.
Huh, interesting.
Yep.
All right, very good.
I really thought you were going to make them.
So I see what you did there, though, because if you want to make the moist maker, see, the moist maker requires prepared raw materials.
What's the moist maker?
It's the sandwich with the turkey.
Oh,
from Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So you take your leftover Thanksgiving dinner and you turn it into a sandwich.
Soak some of the bread and the gravy and put it in between.
Wait, so you're trying to trick me by making the gravy and the turkey and then you can make the
just a simple.
No, I'm not.
Listen, we're both smart.
We'll
figure it out.
Gone but not forgotten. 1896, F. Scott Fitzgerald, Jim McKay, born in 1921, Jim Henson in 1936, Linda McCartney in 1941, Phil Hartman in 1948. Gone but not forgotten on the Phil Hartman front, especially 1958. Bobby Day, number 1. I know you're waiting to hear Michael Jackson's voice, but you're not going to.
He rocks in the treetop all the day long, hopping and a bopping and a singing his song.
Okay, no Dirty Diana, Michael Jackson, but you know.
Dirty Diana.
Wasn't the MJ song I was looking for anyway.
Let's go to the year of 1967. It somehow seems very seasonally appropriate. This is Jay and the Techniques. Apple Peaches Pumpkin Pie is the name of the song. This song wouldn't have been number 1 in the spring.
I wonder how many takes they had for him to phonically get that correct.
Sure.
That would be tough.
They had a spring
Really
version of this
enunciate
song. I think it was ham deviled eggs and peeps.
Yep. Didn't flow quite as nice.
No.
But tasted better.
It's like trying to turn grease into Vaselina.
Yeah. Pears didn't make either
The song doesn't work nearly as well. 1976. England, Dan and John Ford Coley, number 1. With I'd Really Love to See You Tonight.
There's a warm wind blowing, the stars around, and I'd really love to see you tonight.
I remember when the Cougar Pet Band
played
this song.
Did you?
Mm-hmm. Sure do. By the way, Cougar football's tonight, don't forget. Today, early this week. Muhlenberg County coming to Grayson County High School tonight. 1985, Phil Collins. Don't lose my number.
So what happens in the guitar solo?
Can we just have a normal video? I didn't really want a how do you call it? A noir, a video noir, a new way of.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but that was the thing in that time was, they had to one-up each other.
Let's make it
with the videos.
epic.
Yeah.
Let's see. Also, Joe Diffie, Third Rock from the Sun, #1 in 94. Justin Timberlake, Senorita in 2003. And Flo Rida, Whistle, #1, 8 years ago today. MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today. When you can't control what's happening, challenge yourself to control the way you respond
Say it again
to
for the
what
people
is
in the
happening.
back.
When you can't control what's happening, challenge yourself to control the way you respond to what's happening. MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today. Look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow for another edition of our show. For Misty Thomas, for Beej, I'm MB, and now you're in the know.
Powered by Heritage Media of Kentucky, WKHG Litchfield, Kentucky, USA. 104.9 FM, the Twin Lakes Best Mix, K105. Your news starts now.